Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Larix collection. Today I'm going to hit you with some wildflowers that can be found in the Ojibway Prairie site I described in the last video. All pictures are by me, so species that I list that I don't have pictures for, the reason is because I don't have them in my logs. All the pictures are not from the Ojibway Prairie site, just using them to give the video context. Below, I will list species from Inaturalist project, Ojibway Prairie Provincial Park. The list is pretty long that I have. Like, the list on the site is long, and the list I have is about 35 species long. I didn't write them all because it was huge. At the end of the list, I'll break down 5 species that I love and are abundant in the ecosystem. The list doesn't cover everything on the site, but there's still a lot more diversity in the area if you just go into that list on Inaturalist. The link will be below, so I'm going to begin with the list now. I got the first one is Culvers Root, Virginicastrum, virginicum, Cirsium discolor, the field thistle, Pycnanthemum, the virginianum, Virginia mountain mint, Osmunda spectabilis, the American royal fern, Nabalus racemosus, purple snake root, Helenium autumnale, the common sneezeweed, Agalinis, purpurea, the purple foxglove, Doellingeria, umbellata, the flat top aster, the Symphyotrichum, Purpurea, the Willowleaf Aster, Lilium michiganis, the Michigan lily, Spicata tomosa, the steeplebush, Areola flava, smooth yellow foxglove, Haxipis hysterum, yellow stargrass, Onaslea sessabilis, sensitive fern, Cirsium multicum, swamp thistle, Andamones chincifolium, the wood anemone, Helianthus gigantus, the giant sunflower, Symphyotrichum, lave, smooth blue aster, Gigantea ohionis, the Ohio blue jacket, Syphilium tribinicum, the prairie dock, Iris virginianum, southern blue flag, Inaturalist maculatum, spotted Joe eye pie weed, Veronicastrum, nontanus, Indian grass, Ethromia carolina, slender golden top, Virginium misroikie, Missouri ironweed, Symphyotrichum, Nove alginia, New England aster, Apois americum, American groundnut, Gentia androis, closed bottle Gentia, Sodago rugose, wrinkle-leaved goldenrod, Nabalus albus, white rattlesnake root, Pinnicanum, virginianum, switchgrass, Corpus tripches, tall tickseed, Helianthus furicacus, woodland sunflower, Mondra officiosa, wild bergamot, Rosa strigia, the climbing prairie rose. Now that I've named some species I have on the site, all of them are amazing species, and they play a part in the ecosystem and supporting the ecosystem. Honestly, in this area I'm talking about is filled with flowers. You're swimming in pollinators as you make your way through the tall grass. Like, everything is going well. It's one of the craziest moments to sit there and embrace it. It's like watching gears of a city move along. It's breathtaking. Like, honestly, I was there this summer and it was all just going off. So many pollinators. I was breathtaking. It was just, you can't describe it. It's just unreal. This is actually one of the only areas, too, that still supports the Mississauga rattlesnake, this south in Ontario. Well, there's probably still some inactive areas and thrive there, but this is like a really good population of them, and they're still around in this area pretty abundant, fairly abundant. Still, they're like condensed into a small area, but yeah, the only other place you can see them is by going 2 to 3 hours north of here. So it is very cool to see them still thriving here. Some of the species that I'm going to break down is Andropogum Giroudii, the big blue stem, Asclepias tuberosa, the butterfly weed, milkweed, Euphorbia coriata, the flowering spurge, Liatris spicata, the dense blazing star, and Lobelia spicata, the pale spike lobelia. So, for Andropogum Giroudii, the big blue stem, this species is an utter gem of the ecosystem where it thrives and comes in massive patches. As it is a grass, it still flowers, and is way too nice. If you look at here, it has the purple hue with those yellow little productive parts that hold the pollen. You can literally flick this flower and you can see all the pollen just explode out of it. So this species is also a perennial bunch grass growing up to 1 to 3 meters. That's like 3 to 9 feet tall. Roots of this species are unreal. They get as deep as 1 to 3 meters and 6 to 10 feet deep. They form dense mats across the soil, essentially holding it together, which is perfect for this ecosystem as it is a sand soil texture, and it is subject to drifting, which plays a major part in counteracting drifting in this ecosystem. The flower is purplish and split into 3 heads, referred to as a turkey's foot. The growing conditions are pretty wide range, but it can still be picky if it's not in high sun. It can take flooding occasionally, but withstand some wet sites, but it enjoys moist and too dry, mostly, as the roots can reach so much deep water within the ground. This is a powerhouse in the prairies. It is super essential, giving shelter to so many animals in the summer and the winter, such as birds, and it is the larva host of the Delaware skipper in this area, and a tritome loga. This is the best grass. Like, if you're trying to get into grasses, this is the best grass to get into. It is what built our prairies in North America. So now to the Lobelia spicata, the pale spike lobelia. This flower, though rich in beauty, the stem is super thin and the flowers are pretty small. I've probably walked by it seasons on end, but not finding it until this year. This flower consists of a corolla, which is a covered area that protects the reproductive parts. So the corolla is about 8 to 13 millimeters long and has it's two-lipped, with the upper corolla lip being two-lobed and the lower corolla lip being three-lobed. It has a basal leaf structure, which just means it's whorled around the base of the plant for the most part, kind of like a dandelion. The leaves are lanceolate and light green, becoming smaller as they go up the plant, becoming bracts eventually under the flower. The height of this flower ranges from 30 to 120 centimeters, which is a big range, and the ones I saw were more on the shorter end. This species flowers from June to August in habitats of fields, woodlands, and rich meadows, which is pretty much, this prairie is pretty much a rich meadow if you boil it down. So this is like a nice lobelia, and people know lobelia everywhere. We actually have 3 that thrive in the area. 2 of them have a lot of research, the great blue lobelia and the cardinal flower. This one actually has very little research, but I actually did confirm 2 visitors to this species that are like pollinators and stuff. One is a sweat bee, which are very, very interesting, and then the other is a European skipper. Okay, so that's about that for the lobelia. Now to the Euphorbia corollata, the flowering spurge. This is one of few euphorbias in the area, and is actually the only native one. All the other ones that were never originally here; they were brought here. If you go around the world, you'll run into euphorbias, and their growing styles are wild. They're so different from each other. There's so much variety. I've run into a few in tropical areas in the botanical gardens, and they're just unreal. You can't even match them. Well, you can, but they're just so unique from each other. It's an interesting genus to get into, well, family too. But yeah, anyways, the flower are cups, 2 millimeters long and 4 to 6 millimeters wide. Leaves are about 4 centimeters long and linear and mostly alternate. The upper ones are whorled. It reaches heights of 25 to 90 centimeters and flowering from June to October. The habitat of this species is open woods, fields, and roadsides. In this area, you will see this lighting up the side of the path in clusters of white flowers. It's actually unreal. It goes right up the path. That's the main spot I see it on the site, like on the one main path. This plant also has a toxic milky sap that causes skin and eye irritation. Most of the euphorbias have a toxic sap to them. It is also pollinated by different types of bees, wasps, butterflies, and other insects feeding on the foliage. Small mammals also feed on the seeds like wild turkeys, greater prairie chickens, and quail, and mourning doves. Now to Liatris spicata, the dense blazing star. This is pretty much just a purple spike coming out of the ground. The spike is loaded up with so many flowers. I usually see monarchs or swallowtails on it, but many different pollinators and insects love this species because it's like an aster. The asters they pump it out. The actual flower head is only 6 millimeters wide, and they're stalkless with a long style protruding out of the flower head. The bracts are scale-like with purple edges. The spike altogether is about 30 centimeters long, or about a foot. Leaves are crowded at the base, being up to 30 centimeters long and getting smaller as they go up the plant. Heights to about 30 to 180 centimeters, or 1 to 6 feet. It blooms in July to September. And the habitat the habitat it enjoys is a moist low ground in meadows and prairies, and the ones I recorded on this site actually were in the retention pond, which is the lowest area in the site, and all the runoff goes to. So actually, super interesting thing I found on a paper on this from COSEWIC. The link will be below. It says it is restricted in Canada, this species, but it occurs pretty abundant in the United States. But in Canada, it is only to southern Ontario, and the most, 90% of the population in Canada is on Walpole Island First Nations. And then the rest is in Windsor, Ontario, which is where the site is located. Asapias tuberosa, the butterfly milkweed. This is a bright orange beauty. It's so vibrant, it has depth to its color. Flowers have 5 petals and 5 erect hoods over the inner flower, occurring in clusters of 5 centimeters wide. Leaves are 5 to 15 centimeters long, alternate in extruding watery sap when bruised, but not milky like the common milkweed. The height is about 30 to 75 centimeters. The flowers bloom from June to September, with the habitat of dry open soil, roadsides, and fields, which fits the area of the prairie because it's pretty open space with no canopy or open canopy. It attracts more butterflies when they're caterpillars than when they're actually butterflies. It still attracts butterflies, but it mainly supports them in their own early stages, like the monarchs. It also attracts other pollinators, but it will also bring in milkweed aphids and milkweed beetles, which is fairly common, and it can usually take the heat. All right, well, anyways, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed everything. The next episode, I'm going to be going into non-natives I've seen on the Ojibway Prairie site, and I'll also touch base on a little bit of the pollinators that I've seen, just more of what pollinators I've seen on what species of plants, just to give a little bit more structure of the relationships going on in this ecosystem. Thank you very much for listening. Here, enjoy some music from my friend Jetskii Jr., and I'll have some pictures with the outro. Have a good one.